What's up, guys? I'm Cody, and this is my 2020 Toyota Supra.
What's up, guys? I'm here with Cody, and this is his 2020 Toyota Supra. So he's going to go and give you guys a good overview on the car and tell you everything about it.
What's up, guys? So obviously the first thing anybody knows with this car, other than it being a Supra, is the wrap. My buddy Brandon and Tyler over at Port City Customs actually just got done doing this about a month ago. Really knocked it out the park with all the curves. They were the ones who helped me choose the crazy color on this, something that really just obviously stands out more than just the car itself. Moving on more towards the front, nothing crazy going on. APR front splitter. Oracle helped me out with getting some custom headlight, daytime running lights hooked up. And Titania Works recently has been helping me out with these front emblems, the rear emblems, and they're gonna help me with a trunk setup with my future build on this.
Yeah, so it's really interesting because the wrap has like this purple and gold and blue shade to it, and then your titanium badges up here also kind of have a very similar shade to them. So I think it's really cool how everything flows, and then also with the headlights, they're color changing, correct?
Oh yeah, they're color changes. Yeah. So I mean, that was the whole plan. Whenever we chose the color, I wanted to start looking at things to match up together, and I wanted everything, like you said, to flow properly and just all go nicely.
Yeah, for sure. So like when you can change the headlights to match almost like the color of the car, I think it's really cool how everything flows together and just looks really good. Now tell us about these wheels on the car.
The wheels, I mean, they're just nothing too crazy. They're just some 19 by 8.5s in the front, 19 by 11s in the rear. Front tires, just my stock front tires. The rears are some DOT drag tires. Because last time I went to the track, I was spinning the whole way down the track, and I decided, let's just get the craziest or widest street legal thing I can do. And it's a 12.5 wide in the rear, so it should have plenty of traction next time I'm out at the track.
Yeah, so it's really cool how it's a street car, but then it's also got these essentially street legal drag radials on the back. So I think it's really cool. And now with these tires, do you still spin or anything like that?
I still spin occasionally on cold mornings, and if I haven't really heated them up much in the rain, they're awful in the rain, but it seems like when I have them heated up, they hook real well.
For sure, for sure. So then tell us about the horsepower and torque on the car.
Horsepower right now is roughly about 500 horsepower, 600 foot-pounds of torque. That's just for now. I got some things coming up here in the future that is hopefully gonna bump that up into the 700 horsepower range.
Now that's gonna be insane, but even now it's still pretty incredible what it does have. So stock, this car comes with 335 horsepower. What did you have to do to yours specifically to actually get it to those horsepower and torque numbers?
It was just a Visconti E50 tune, his flex fuel kit, and a catless downpipe, and that's really about it, just to bump it up that much power.
Yeah, so it's really awesome how you can really, like with it being a BMW power plant, you really don't need that much to a BMW to actually get horsepower out of it. So really with just a tune and like some simple bolt-ons like you have, it really makes a lot more horsepower, which is really incredible. And a lot of people hate on it for being a BMW, but I think it's definitely a plus factor because, BMW motors are just so tunable. And while yes, they are a little complicated, they're very tunable, and it doesn't really take much to get them a lot of horsepower. So I think that's really cool. Now go ahead and tell us what got you into cars, because this is a very unique car and not a lot of people are getting cars like this. So kind of guide us towards that.
Well, I mean, I've always been a truck person, honestly. I've always had trucks and Jeeps, and everything I've had has been lifted. But ever since I was younger, watching Fast and Furious as a kid, obviously, like everybody else, I've always loved that Mark IV Supra. And nowadays, with them being, $80,000 at least for a turbo Mark IV, I started looking more into these when they came out last year, and ever since they came out, I've just loved the body style of them. Even if it's a BMW by power plant, I've still just something about it spoke out to me, and I decided one day to go and see it, and I just had to come home with it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's really cool. And like you said, you wanted the Mark IV, but the Mark V is also very similar to the Mark IV. Now, a lot of people don't think it is, but if you look at the overall silhouette of the car, you've got a very short tail, and then the front nose is very long. And then also just the hood is very big, just like the Mark IV Supra. And also, if you look at the headlights, they also have that overall, shape that the Mark IV did, and I think it's really cool, and it kind of brings you back some nostalgia. So like you said, the Fast and Furious movies, everyone loves it, and then the Supra is kind of like the main character in there. So it's really cool that they brought it back in the Mark V Supra, and it's really cool that, you know, a lot of people say it doesn't look like it, but if you really pay attention to the details, you'll notice that this car is actually much more similar to the Mark IV than you would expect. So then moving along to the rear of the car, he's also got a few cool things done to it, so go ahead and tell us about that.
Well, at first I just got the Rex Speed carbon fiber rear little spoiler. I got more Titanium Works emblems on there. They recently got these out to me last week. Brandon actually wrapped my taillights with legal taillight tint. Other than that, stock exhaust up to the downpipe.
Yeah, it's a really cool setup, and I think definitely having the spoiler on here looks super cool. And it almost looks like what like the A91 Supra has, which I think looks amazing. And then also, I just love these emblems here that you've got. So with like the little like chrome almost titanium finish that matches the wrap, and also it's really cool because the Supra badge on this car is the same font as it is on the Mark IV Supra, so they really kept the heritage going. And then also the GR Supra also has the same titanium badge. I think it looks super cool, and it really flows with the car, and you can definitely tell you've done that thing with the car where you've gotten everything to flow. Like every mod you've done to the car really works with each other. They kind of complement each other, and I think it looks really good. But other than that, let's go and take the car for a drive and see how it feels. So then what upgrades do you have done to the engine?
The engine really just I have a flex fuel kit, catless downpipe, and a Visconti stage 2 E50 tune.
So right now on your sport display, it is showing that it's got around an E57 mix, which is pretty cool that with your tuner now you can see like your, you know, fuel blend and all that. It's really cool.
Yeah, and it is nice too because in here in Savannah, a lot of times our E85 pumps are actually out, and that's the only one within a good little distance around here. So with that flex fuel kit, I'm able to fill up on 93 if the E is actually out, so I don't have to change my tune. It does it all, everything for me.
That's really cool. So go ahead and tell us about the tune as well. So can you have like multiple different types of tune? Is it like a burble tune? Go ahead, tell us about that.
My tuner just hijacked the sport display on this car, so now instead of it reading horsepower and torque, it shows power would be my boost level and torque is my ethanol content.
Yeah, so essentially right now you're running an E57 blend. Yeah. And then you can also like change all the things on the app, right? So go ahead and show us the app.
So basically I can do everything from data logging to switching my different maps either here, or I can actually do it through my cruise control settings and, you know, change the exhaust burble, just about anything I need to do with my tunes on this.
That's really cool.
All on the fly. Or I could just hold my button and swap through all the different tunes. The things like my burble, that's actually something that I can adjust myself. Like it's not a set thing from my tuner, so everything I could change like on my own.
But the car does burble from the factory, and it's like really interesting how it is. You know, like even with a stock exhaust, it will burble, which is kind of rare nowadays, but it's cool that they're doing it.
Definitely with the catless downpipe, that has made it just 10 times as loud as it was from factory.
Yeah, so how much horsepower and torque is it pushing now with all these mods?
With just those couple mods, I'm roughly around 500 horsepower, 600 foot-pounds.
Wow, and that's insane. It's really crazy how like you don't have to do too much of the car to get those types of numbers. Like for example, an 8.6, you're not going to get that type of power number, which is bolt-ons in a tune. But you know, with a Supra motor, it works out pretty well. Those shifts definitely, I mean, it's like aggressive but smooth at the same time. Like just riding here passenger right now, they felt very refined and crisp because it is a ZF 8-speed auto from the BMW. So it's very smooth, but also aggressive. Like it's I feel like it's one of those things you really just have to ride it to feel. Like, that was incredible. You know, it's a BMW, so it's going to be refined, and it feels really smooth. And I think that's one of the cool things about the Supra is you can really build it to what you want. So if you want it to be really cool in a straight line, you can. If you want it to handle really well on the track, you can. It's really kind of built for how you want. And I think with your setup, it's really cool how, I bet if you just change the tires, you can go from the drag strip to like a road course, pretty much with just a change of tires for the most part. Having like only 2 seats, and does it feel ever small to you? Because definitely sitting in here, it feels smaller than the 8.6.
Yeah, the inside's actually really small. So, I mean, coming from owning trucks all the time, or owning trucks and Jeeps and full-size vehicles to a 2-seater car with a small back trunk, I mean, it's hard to adjust, but this car is my daily drive. I drive it every day to work. It takes some adjusting to get used to, but at the end of the day, it's probably one of the most standoffish cars you'll see on the roads. And there's not as much room as I'd like, but, you know, I make do, I adjust, because at the end of the day, it's just, I mean, I love the car, and it's just a blast to drive.
Holy crap. That's insane.
Yeah, it's loud.
Wow.
No flames yet.
It doesn't throw flames?
Not yet.
Man, those pops are really crisp. Like, wow. Oh my gosh, I was not expecting that.
Yeah,
now, what was that? Was that 3rd gear?
Yeah, I think it was actually it was a 4th gear launch.
4th gear? My gosh, that pulled harder than my car in like 1st. I mean, obviously, you know, my car's, you know, what is it, a third of the horsepower, but still.
It will pull hard.
Wow, that's insane. Oh my gosh, these brakes are touchy. Whoa, it's sound shifting for me. That is not expected at all. Okay. I mean, I'm barely tapping the gas. Like, that was maybe no more than like 20% throttle, and just goes. Holy crap. Oh my gosh. Okay, I drive a Toyota 8.6. That thing's got 200 horsepower, and this thing's upwards 500, 600, so this is just incredible. So what do you think of the motor, just like from like a daily driver standpoint? Is it reliable? Has it given you any issues or anything like that?
No, it hasn't given me any issues. It is, I will say, went out like just from installing that flex fuel kit, it is one of the most complicated motors I've ever even looked at in my life. The amount of wires that run over it and just all the plugs all over it are it's just insane.
Yeah.
So just first looking at that when you go to work on it, it's a scary sight.
Yeah, a lot of people say it just looks ugly because all the wires, and it can be a little, I guess you could say, overwhelming, you know, because you go from, Toyotas typically have, like, this is me just barely, what the heck, I'm barely pressing on the brake and it's just downshifting. Like, I thought the 8.6 was cool because if you press the brake really hard, it will downshift for you. Here I'm just, I mean, normally, I wasn't even aggressively braking, that was just like a regular, I'm not even pressing on the brake, like, I'm just, here, I'm gonna release. That was in 4th gear at 35 miles per hour. Like, I'm barely doing anything. Yeah, look at that. Wow, that's incredible.
My favorite part about the car.
That is so loud.
I'm still waiting to get complaints on it.
I mean,
it's coming soon enough.
It would be addicting, I'll tell you that. Definitely with those pops. I mean, I'm 20% on the throttle, and that was from 1st gear. This thing is just insane. So that was full throttle in 4th gear. So this car's a premium model, correct?
Yes, it is. I mean, the main things that make it different is, you know, the radio's a larger size radio, bigger brakes than the base model one, and then there's just a couple of things here and there that just make it stand out versus the base model.
Yeah, so it's really cool, and just noticing the brakes. Now, I'm not sure how the other model is, but these brakes are incredible. So what I'm noticing right now is when you press on the gas and the brake, they're very sensitive. So you press on the brake ever so slightly and the car's gonna stop, and it even downshifts for you, which is awesome. And one of the cool things about the gas pedal in this car is that you press it ever so slightly and pretty much you're already going. It's really sensitive and I like it.
That's what makes these things good, is that everybody I've seen is take them to the track the first time they get them, and
I mean,
obviously they dominate on the track.
It's a BMW, so they definitely tune it like that. I know Toyota has done a good bit for that, but BMWs typically are very aggressive, I guess you could say, for being like street cars for the track. But otherwise it's very well thought out, and like the alignment on the car is just very good for track. And I think it's really cool how you can daily drive on it, but it's also super planted when you want to do anything else.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So let's go to try a third gear pull. I'm gonna go ahead and ease into it and then floor it. This car is like, it's almost scary. Like, it really just because the boost just builds and builds, and it just feels like it has more. Like, it doesn't ever feel like it's dying off. It just keeps building and building, and it just wants to keep going. It's almost asking for you to give it more throttle. So let's go ahead and stop here and let's try a first gear pull. So I've got track control on, all that. We're just gonna go ahead and try it from first gear. I'm gonna ease into it. Oh my gosh, like the shifts are just like, they feel so much different when you're driving the car. This is incredible. Like, so the best way I can describe it is the moment you press the paddle, it'll like push you back in your seat, but it'll also at the same time push you forward. Like, it's very weird. I don't know how else to describe it. Maybe more sports cars are like this. I'm just not used to it, but it's incredible how like the moment you shift, you feel it lurching you back, and then you're also, because of so much power, it's pushing you forward again. Like, this is incredible. That was fifth gear, and that was like maybe 30% throttle. My goodness. So let's try auto again, because auto is definitely very aggressive with the way it shifts. So like here, I'll brake very slightly. It just downshifted from 6th to 4th for like the ever so slightest bit of brake. That's incredible. So how do we go ahead and put it back in like the eco mode, or is it like a regular mode for it? To where the exhaust valve closes?
That's just turn off sport mode, and then it just back to being quiet.
Yeah, I think that's one of the incredible things about the Supra is this is factory, right? Like the valve and everything?
Oh yeah, all factory exhaust. I mean, other than the catless downpipe.
Yeah, I mean, it's really awesome how, it's just one of those things where it's like, I love new cars because they come with all these, it's like you hate them because they have so much tech, but at the same time it's awesome because you can literally go from having like a really loud car that's obnoxiously loud, but it still has a really good exhaust note, and it's also like popping like crazy and doing all that, but then put it back in a normal mode, the exhaust valves close, and now it's like a really quiet ride. And it's a BMW and a Toyota. Toyotas are known for being very smooth, and BMWs are very luxury cars as well. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. And I think it's really awesome that these two companies did a collaboration because they really seem like they're perfect for it. And a cool thing is like the interior quality on here is amazing. So if I'm correct, most of it is from BMW, but that's totally not a problem. Like BMW has really high quality interiors, and I would even argue that BMW has much better interiors than Toyota. So, I think it's really cool that BMW does have their play in this, and also Toyota. And a lot of people hate it, but overall I think it's a really good collaboration, and they did a solid job with this car. One of my favorite things about the Supra is just how refined it is. And yes, for the money you can always get something with more horsepower, something that's more crazy, but this car just has so much technology behind it. And while yes, people do hate it for that, I think it's awesome because like the active exhaust on the car and all these like awesome features on here, it makes it a really fun car for the weekends. But if you want to daily drive it, I'm sure you could without a problem, because you do daily drive this, correct?
Yeah, every single day.
Yeah, you daily drive it, and it's a really smooth car. Like right now it's showing 20.1 miles per gallon, and to think with 500 horsepower to be driving it like we are, and to still get around 20 miles per gallon average, that's incredible. Like, you really, like, it's a really efficient engine, you can tell. And just with how smooth it is, It's definitely well built. And you know, I did hear when the Toyota Supra was first unveiled, someone from Toyota actually mentioned that Toyota did refine every single nut and bolt on this car. So it's not like BMW just gave you the engine and that's it, you know, Toyota's done with it. Toyota did have their part in every single nut and bolt on this car, and they say they refined it to their standard quality. So it's definitely a high quality car, and that's really what Toyota's known for. And also BMW. Now, BMW is not necessarily known for being the most reliable, but I think when you really blend with Toyota and BMW, you'll really get a good mix, and it really ends up being an amazing car. Like, I really don't have anything that I don't like about this. I think it's, honestly, I would say this car is perfect. You've got the active exhaust that makes it really loud and also really quiet at the same time. The suspension on here is just so smooth. So it's a really smooth driving car. Like, it almost, I would even say it feels like almost like a Camry, but it actually has like the performance behind it. And I say that in a good way because Camrys are really smooth, and this car also feels really smooth. Now, this car does have the active suspension, correct?
Yes, it does. So I mean, and as I'm not too familiar on the subject, but I do know once it's put into sport mode, it's supposed to stiffen everything up a little bit more for more, you know, track ready use.
Yeah. So like we're in like the regular eco mode right now, and it feels really smooth. And then let's go ahead and toss it. Can we put it in sport mode? Yeah. You can instantly hear it just downshifted. Oh, there goes the pops. I'm not even pressing the gas, and it already, it's like the car has its own character, and I think it's awesome that they're doing that from the factory. Like, listen to that. I'm barely on the brakes. Like, it's incredible. Second gear. Wow. Oh my gosh. Actually, I want to try something. So I'm just going to floor it from fourth gear in auto. Oh my gosh. Those pops are insane. Like, this car just goes. Like, this is incredible. Corners and see how it feels. So it definitely has like some good suspension on it. You know, obviously with the active suspension, it's really interesting, but let's go and see how it feels in this corner. And then just shift up a gear and you'd never know who it was. Yeah, I'll tell you what, the suspension is definitely really refined and tuned, and I think that's one of the beauties of having, like, you know, a OEM suspension that's set up very well is, you know, Toyota and BMW know what they're doing. They're obviously going to design suspension that's really well built for the car, but it is also built for the streets, so that's something to keep in mind. But overall, it does feel very good, and just driving it normally here, it feels so smooth, and then you take it through a corner, and I feel very confident. Like, I definitely feel more confident in this than I do in a car like the 8.6, and the 8.6 is already known for being very good, you know, in corners, not necessarily straight line, but definitely in corners. But this car kind of is the best of everything. You can take it to a drag strip, you can take it to an autocross event, you can really do whatever you want, or you can even just daily drive it normally, and it's going to be good at that. That was insane. Oh my gosh, I was not expecting that. It's weird, like, I've already heard it a few times. I should be expecting it, but it's different every time. Those shifts are so aggressive. When you give it just a little bit more gas in auto mode, it'll just shift for you. Like, that's incredible. So there you have it. That was Cody's Supra. It's a really incredible car, and I'm sure you enjoyed watching it. But for now, if you enjoyed the video and want to see many more just like it, because we're going to have a whole lot more of other cool cars and my own car on the channel, so go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.
And it's making me weaken. You and your status, walking like that. It's really getting too much, but I can't pull back.
still recording.